Hello.
Hello.
So let's just get into it. The purpose of this interview, first of all, my name is Bada, and the purpose of this interview is to basically let the people who are watching back at home to learn about your story and the things you went through so they can pick up something, a little something from it as well. And
Mm-hmm.
going off that, can you introduce yourself a little briefly?
Sure. My name is Rahul Vats and I'm from India.
Mm,
Um, Married, I have a wife and a daughter. I live here in United States in Dallas City.
nice. So tell us a little bit more about your family. Like, what do they do?
Okay, so when we talk about family, family is quite, you know, I have a huge family. I grew up in a joint family, so I live with I used to live with my grandparents and my father, two uncles, aunts, and a lot of cousins together. So back home in India, my grandparents are no more, but I have my father, mother, sister,
Hmm.
and two uncles who live in same town and close by houses. We all don't live under the same roof, but in pretty close by, and we celebrate all the festivals and things together at my place because my father is the eldest.
Ah,
Um,
makes sense.
um, in summertime, like when I was a child, at times there would be like 40 people under one house. Yeah, so it was quite
House.
a fun time. Yes, and it was not big house. It was a small house, but it was fun.
Yeah, I can see.
Now I'm in US. I have my wife. So in my family, everybody works for in government related roles or some
Oh yeah.
way or the other associated with some government jobs. My father retired as um, a public transport commission officer.
Oh yeah.
uh, yeah, my mom, works for. She is also retired. She used to work for a bank, government bank, Bank of Baroda. My sister has opened her own, interior decoration,
Ooh.
business.
Oh
So
nice.
she's an interior. Yeah, she does interior designing of houses, and also my mother and she helps out at a business where they do constructions of a lot of furnitures, so stylistic artisan based furnitures. Then my uncles are in government jobs. My one aunt is a housewife and one aunt teaches at a university. She is a PhD. She teaches English. And my cousins, one of them is a doctor. She got married to another doctor. They live in, all parts. If I go about everybody, it would be
Yeah.
huge.
You're a
So,
very successful
uh,
family.
yes, God has been kind. So my wife, um, she does, marketing for company called Thrive, and she work as a content creator and marketing advisor for Thrive, and they reach out and support to various businesses who work with them. And yeah, I have a 2-year-old daughter. She will be 2-year old. She's 21 right now, 21 months.
Oh
Um, yeah, and she's just fun.
yeah. She doesn't have to
Yeah,
do much right now.
no, not at all, not at all.
Going back to your wife, you said she was a content creator.
Yeah.
Like what is like? Is that like making videos and stuff like that for like the company she works?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay,
So
okay.
she writes the website content, blogs, helps out with content on YouTube videos, social media posts, things like that.
Okay, cool.
And she is also current Mrs. South Asia International.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
I think that was like a pretty important thing you should have mentioned before.
I'm so like I yes, I'm so sorry why I spaced out on that.
No,
Yeah, no, no, it should. So she became Mrs. South Asia International in 2019, and she'll be the title holder till the year end.
wow,
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
she competed at Mrs. International. She competed, but
Yeah,
yeah, she didn't
that's
win
still
that.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a very successful family, but
Mhm.
let's get into more about you. So, what do you
Okay.
do for a living?
So I'm a computer programmer, computer professional. I've been working for 13 years. Started my career, as a programmer at a company called Global ID Group in Fairfield, Iowa. Um, Worked at various companies, Microsoft, Change Healthcare, McKesson, Zanatics, bunch of different companies. The main thing that I like about my work is, that I get to solve problems which make a difference in people's life.
Yeah.
Um, so to keep it in a nutshell, I'm an engineer who does computer programming and likes to solve, software related problems.
Yeah. So see, you keep doing this thing where you say something really important and you just kind of keep glossing over it. You said
Uh,
Microsoft. You want to expand on how that happened?
so yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is that I've done a lot of consultant and contracting work.
Oh yeah, contracting.
So so I'm in US and I have a company which holds my visa, and
Oh
that company is Compinel Software Inc. It's a consulting company,
yeah.
right? And then I did a project, or I'm still doing some project where at Microsoft I'm helping them out with a lot of things. I'm currently working with their code quality practices and standards on a SQL VMIS team. Um, it's a fun team. I'm not I've never been to Microsoft location like physically. I
Oh
mm, you know mm, right now I'm working remotely from and due to COVID restriction from
yeah.
home. But I have written some significant code for Microsoft, which helps quite a different quite a lot of engineers in making sure that when they write their code would be meeting a certain quality standard,
Yeah.
and it would make sure that no more problems happen down the line. I worked with a project of on Azure Data Lake services. Now I'm not sure like who are the target audiences, and I don't know what all they would know, so just
Yeah.
trying to keep it generic.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm working with Microsoft as of right now for SQL IS team.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Hmm.
We did a little research on you. I felt a little bit, but I heard that you're a distinguished Toastmaster.
Hmm.
Wow.
So,
So
so
tell us like about
distinguished,
what you got from like
sure.
yeah.
So distinguished Toastmaster, it's the highest level of honor that one can reach in Toastmaster International organization. Now,
Oh,
Toastmaster International is a 90 plus year old organization that started in 1920s
yeah.
sometime in a by a guy named Ralph Smedley.
Mm.
And uh, mm, I've been part of a club which he actually started. It's called Smedley Club. So it's
Oh,
the club number one in Toastmaster. I've been part of that. Like explaining more about Toastmaster International, what this organization does is it allows individual a platform where they can go and you know learn about how to give public
yeah.
speaking,
Public
how
speaking.
to do public speaking. They do projects. Each project teaches something. So when you start off with like a set of 10 speeches. First speech is about breaking the ice,
Yeah.
introducing
Icebreaker.
yourself,
Yeah.
talking about yourself, things of that nature. And while you're doing Toastmaster, there are times then each year two times in a year they would held competition,
Hmm.
and in those competition you would get to see one club working together with many club in the area, division and district, and that is the leadership path.
Yeah.
So in order to become distinguished Toastmaster, you have to have at least 40 plus speeches completed,
Mm-hmm.
plus serve as a leader in your area, division, district, and help out a lot of other people learn about Toastmasters, or train them and help them in
Yeah.
becoming a better speaker. So
Yeah.
in my journey, I started in a club in Fairfield, Iowa. It's called Golden Speaker. I went there. I did a lot of speeches. When I was there, they held a competition, and it was about inspirational speech. So
Ooh.
how to inspire others. I participated in that, won that, competed at various levels in area division. So it's in hierarchy, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
international, you have,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So when I competed there, I saw that okay, there are more things, and then I became interested, and I served as a area you know um, director.
Yeah.
Um, and when I did all those things, and I had other Toastmasters evaluate me on how I'm doing,
Hmm.
I learned a lot of things, and I met the criteria of becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. So again, it is one of the best thing that I did in my life. I'm still doing it,
Yeah.
and I recommend everybody should, like, who wants to get into speaking, public speaking, inspiring others, should do it.
Yeah. And like, so I also started Toastmasters this year as well.
Hmm.
And so 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago
Hmm.
I had my table topics division contest. Yeah, because I
Nice.
got second in my club, and then I got between clubs I got that one. And I got second in the division one as well. But I can't go to the next stage because only the first person gets it. But yeah.
Right.
But that was for table topics because yeah, I like
Well,
table topics.
and I mean, when I competed, I did in inspirational, humorous, tall tales,
Yeah.
evaluation, and table topics. And I feel the most challenging of them all. I mean, keeping aside the inspirational one because it happens at a world level as well,
Yeah.
where you get to meet. I've met few world champions myself, Dana Lemon, and this year world champion. He's my friend actually, Aaron
Oh wow.
Beverly. Um, we met in Philadelphia, and he came when I was trying to start a club in the apartment community that I was living in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and that is very challenging. But for me personally, I feel table topics is actually the most challenging, and it makes you think on your feet. So
Hmm.
kudos to you. I
Yeah.
mean,
Thank you.
for even becoming the second, coming second at division level, which is, I would say, amongst 500 people, is a significant achievement.
Yeah.
So you were the second best speaker out of 500. Good job.
Yeah. So you live in the US right now, right? You've been
Huh?
living in the US for a long time,
13 years, yeah.
15 years. Well, before that, what home country are you from? Sorry.
I'm from India, so
Okay,
I,
perfect.
grew up in India. I was born in a city called Ujjain. It's one of the most ancient cities in the world. I um, it's very historical, very
Yeah.
um, it has a lot of culture, history behind the city. So that's where I grew up. I, in India, you have a lot of people. So even the city which I was born in, I mean, I'm calling it a city, but it's more of a town,
Yeah.
had a population
Not
of
that big.
about, had a population of about, 1.7 million. And where I'm living in US right now does not have that much population.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So tell us like a little bit of the differences between India and the US.
Well, that is one of the thing, right? I mean,
Population, yeah.
uh, New York is the biggest city in US, and it has a population of 8 million.
Yeah.
New York City, right?
Yeah.
And if you compare Bombay, which would be equivalent, Bombay is not as big as New York in terms of like a lot of things, but has a population of 20 plus million
That's
in just one in just one city. So there are a lot more people. People are, I would say, more open, or I mean, that's the way I feel.
hmm,
Because openness with people come when you interact with them. So where I'm living, I'm fairly close to my neighbors. I interact with them. I go and exchange food, at times of festivities and things like that. But in India, it was more easy, and it was more natural.
yeah.
Over here, I have to make an you know effort, and I have to make sure that I'm reaching out. But over there, it did used to feel like I have to reach out to anybody, or I have to make an effort. It would just come naturally. So
Yeah.
some of the differences that I've noticed is, I've told you about my family. I grew up in a joint family, and I was
Yeah.
living with so many people.
Hmm.
Over here, it's just me, my wife, and my daughter, three people.
Yeah.
So
I think
40 versus three. Sorry.
one of interviews I've had before, they describe it as very individualistic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like every person for themselves kind of thing. It's
Right. So that is true. But again, I mean, it depends because I've lived with lot of I have lived in a lot of cities in US. I started in Iowa. That was not individualistic at all. People
ah,
would care for others, and it was a small town, 10,000 people. I knew half the population of that town. And you go to supermarket, you go to any other shops, restaurant, you would run into people who you would know, and everybody would say hi to each other, greet each other. They would invite you over on festivals, dinners, and that happens here too. But it just depends. And I would agree, like if I have to go on a percentage basis, I would say about 60% people are that with that individualistic mindset where
yeah,
they want to think about just themselves. And that's definitely not the case growing up in India.
yeah.
um, and I would say on India, it at times would become where people are nosy, and like they want to know, even if
Ah,
it
yeah,
doesn't really matter to them,
yeah,
what's going on in other person's life and their business,
yeah.
even if they could do something which could make their life better.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
Well, from hearing you talk about your life and your family and your own like job and all that, what is like the biggest accomplishment you've had in your life so far?
Biggest accomplishment. My biggest accomplishment would be my daughter. I mean, she's so precious. So,
Mm,
if I have to think of just one and the biggest, that would be my daughter. Um, Over the course of my life and the journey that I've had,
yeah,
I've seen many things that I've improved upon.
yeah,
There are certain things that I've done that I could feel as like some small accomplishment and goals that I've met, like
mm,
becoming a distinguished Toastmaster
yeah.
was
That's
a
huge.
significant achievement, but I won't call it my biggest achievement.
Biggest.
I have um, done a lot of things with my health. Over time, I have learned so many things about health and nutrition and fitness. I've gone from like you're in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, I'm in New Zealand.
And in New Zealand, you do calculations in kgs and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, I've gone from like 100 kgs to a 60 kg, and
Wow.
and did all those things, and made myself better, become fit, become strong, um, which somebody would call a major accomplishment, because losing that much weight uh, takes a lot of dedicated effort.
Yeah.
um, but again, for me, those things, you know it, biggest accomplishment is about what you feel close to your heart. And for me, the closest thing to my heart is my daughter.
Yeah. As you would normally.
Yeah, yeah. I'm another thing that I would say is, that is my accomplishment, is like I've grown in my life a lot, and with each relationship and each things that I've been at work, at with friends, uh, you know supporting your family and how you do things so that others can do things, have also been. So I would say my wife, when she became Mrs. South Asia International,
Yeah.
I would consider that also like very close,
Yeah, because
maybe like
you were there along
second biggest. Yeah,
supporting her and all that. Yeah.
yeah, second biggest achievement of my life. And the best, like the biggest thing about that particular achievement, and for my wife, just to talk about her for a minute, is that she did it when my daughter was 3 months old.
Oh,
And like pregnancy, woman gains a lot of weight, and there are postpartum depressions and things of that nature. And she went, like she overcame those things. She I enrolled her without her knowing, but then she took it on herself and did those things. But just being watching her journey, when she did exercise, she lost the weight, she you know overcame or any kind of depression, or anything that she was feeling,
hmm.
and became Mrs. South Asia International. It's something very, very close to my heart, because it made me realize what mm, challenges a woman
Yeah.
faces, in those times, and what all they go through.
Yeah.
So it's not my achievement by no means. I didn't do anything there, but after my daughter, I think that's like one of the biggest thing that I could call as achievement that happened in me or any closed one's life.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah.
It's very amazing when you hear about it, like post pregnancy, you're going through a lot right now. You literally have
Yeah.
your first kid, and even
Hmm.
then you're still able to like especially like a model or like Miss Southeast Asia. Like it's a very physically
Hmm.
demanding task, I
Hmm.
guess, and still being able to do that is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a high school student, right? So this is my last
Hmm.
year of high school. I literally just finished school like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm still looking through my life choices and what am I gonna do and all that stuff. And people have a lot of different paths to how they want to do after high school, right? Some get into straight into jobs, some go to university, some take
Hmm.
gap years. And what was your path when you graduated high school? Like, what was going through your head when you graduated high school?
So when I completed my graduation, it was the high school graduation. It was 2002.
Yeah.
And I went into and enrolled myself into an engineering school. I mean, my family did it for me. Things are little different,
Yeah.
that way. Uh, in India, your parents do a lot of things for you. And in, US, Australia, New Zealand, England, UK, any European country, once you're done from high school, you you have some say, and you think about your life choices. People are
Yeah.
becoming more, you know um,
A lot more free.
intelligent, and they are thinking about themselves, which is
Yeah.
very great. So for me, my parents enrolled me, my family enrolled me into an engineering school,
Yeah.
and I went through with engineering. And when I started in it, I was not that into it, but as I was taking courses, I realized I was passionate about, programming, computer science, and
Ah.
those kind of things. And I started enjoying that. I did good in
Hmm.
programming. I was even when I was graduating my college, I was voted the best student of the year for
Oh,
my final year,
man.
and that was among like about 14,000 students. So
Yeah.
again, that was something, but it's so far back that I sometimes it's just a blur. But what I did besides that was I started a company called Top Innovators, and
Good.
you know did a lot of projects. We came out, we did a music album, we did magazines, we created some comic strip. One of our famous comic strip was Spike and Shelly, the Generation Z kids,
Yeah.
and things like that. And lived some of my entrepreneurial dream, because I always wanted to, when I was in like high school,
Hmm.
to do entrepreneurial things and to do my own business. Now, if I could get to do that, and if I could start my company, that would be something that I would call my biggest achievement. If I could establish it, what I did 18 years ago in 2002,
Hmm.
with Top Innovators, while I was just a university or a college student.
Yeah.
And now, having said that, I just to answer your question very concisely and to the point, after my high school, I studied for computer science, computer programming, loved it, did decently well enough
Hmm.
in it. Then, while I was doing that, I started a company called Top Innovators, did bunch of things, which would be my biggest passion that I would want to start. The trouble right now is that because I'm in US and I'm on a visa, I can only
Can't do
work for
working. Yeah.
I can only work for the companies that hold my visa.
Yeah.
So if and when I get a green card, my dream and goal will be to start my company
Yeah.
here again, and then make it the big corporation that it could.
You want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think I've jumped all over the place, but
No,
to
no, that's fine.
keep the answer.
I am following everything so far. Actually,
So
quick
to
question. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so when you talk about your college life, it's actually like really similar to what I'm trying to do as well.
Uh-huh.
So I literally today I just accepted my offer to the New Zealand's like top school. It's the University of Auckland as a for
Nice.
their engineering course. So
Nice. One of my friend, his name is Rohit Srivastava. He studied there.
ah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, he lives in Auckland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So sorry.
And also because I'm doing this whole page thing, and then basically I'm trying to like you, I'm trying to get into this entrepreneurial things. One thing is like, how difficult was it, like balancing that business with that engineering? Did you feel like it was like ever? Was there at a point where it was like it was too much, or were you like still pretty like doable to you?
So it was challenging. It was difficult. It
Yeah.
was definitely not easy. But again, I mean, I would tell you some of the things that I did, or that I had to do, which we could definitely, I could have definitely done that differently.
Hmm.
But when you're young, you don't feel that you have to sleep a lot or do
Yeah.
things. So I would study, I would do my things during the day, go to college, attend classes,
Yeah.
interact with friends, make friends, and then I would come back home. Uh, and then, I was not living with my parents because the college was in a different city than where
Yeah.
my parents were. So I was, you know, renting out apartments and
Yeah.
had roommates and things like that. And with those roommates, I started that company, right? The people that I was.
Ah, yes.
So one of the things is like how you would do it. So the easy part was to align myself with the people who had similar vision and work with them.
Yeah.
Uh, and get them together and do things. But the difficult part was also to get them together because each person had different views.
Yeah.
And the difficult part was to balance study with the projects that we were trying to do, which were not related to the study.
Ah,
Like if I did a software project, it was easy because then I could relate it
yeah.
back
They're
to
all
what I was studying. But music album was not.
yeah.
Coming up with comic strips was not.
Yeah.
And we had like a lot of late nights and things like that. I was not a big party person. Like I never drank or did any of those things.
Yeah.
So that was so easy part was to find right people. Easy part was to you know um, because I had that much energy, passion, and
Hmm.
energy at that age, to do late nights and go out and just come up with an idea and follow it. Those were easy part, and difficult part were the same too, because when you were trying to come up with business, you will be working. You If you're trying to go into an entrepreneurial journey, you would have to interact with a lot of people, and that interaction at times would be difficult because
I
you
see.
will have different opinions. You will
Yeah.
not see eye to eye on many things. Like I would give you an example. We were working on music album, and I had a specific vision for a song that my friends didn't, and I was the the person who was responsible financially. So
Yeah.
I was generating all the sponsorships, going to meet to stakeholders, investors who would invest in students, young students. Not a lot of people do that, but who would invest money in our
Yeah.
small our project.
Hmm.
Um, and 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 uh, when you're doing all those things, people would give you different advice, different opinion. So to realize what would be crucial that you should follow, and what would be noise that you have to block out, was the difficult part. So
Hmm.
again, what would be easy things like reaching out to people, meeting people, spending long hours, just be full of energy at all times, could also be the disadvantages, because you're doing late hours, which would at some point of time take toll on your health. You would have difference of opinion with people. So
Yeah.
again, to just keep all things in a perspective, here are my 2 cents. I would say it was one of the best times. So follow your entrepreneurial
Yeah.
dream and go out with all energy, all passion, and make sure that when you have to stop, and what you have to take in, and what you have to block.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. That actually helps a lot because I was having like a little bit of like just like questions basically
Hmm?
because the not a lot of people like really do get into like an engineering degree, which is like seen as like such a complex and hard degree, and then think
Hmm?
about doing like another business on top of it. So actually
Hmm?
having someone like you who's actually done it and actually enjoyed it is actually really helpful for me because I feel like the way I'm going is actually it's a pretty good way to go.
It is, and believe me, like one of the things that happened with me was we went too big too fast.
Yep.
So we started. I started with a group of 8 people, and if I would have stick maybe to just those 8 people, it would have been easier to maybe not have issues in the company that much. But soon we expanded to like 180% in the company, and
Yeah.
it became difficult to manage things.
Yep.
So we were still like successful. We were able to launch our music album at a statewide level, which was very significant. We had meetings with the top music producers in Bollywood and India, and they were all excited about it. They wanted to buy the music album and redo it, but that was our work. So I do feel that there was a lot of successes in that way.
Hmm.
And then if we could have if I would have stayed in India and I would have pursued that, then maybe it would have been better. But I had to come to US because I had to come for my masters and do
Oh,
more things and become better at in terms of programming, uh, in terms of learning about new technologies. And um, the decisions, some of the decisions that I made, were right, and some were not for the company, for the entrepreneurial dream. But for my life personally, having that degree as an engineer helped, because that helps me, uh, maintain for my family, pay for my family,
yeah.
do that. Uh, if I would have, pursued with my entrepreneurial dream, there would have been struggles.
Hmm.
But uh, again, like this is a this is becoming somewhat of a tough topic, because I know that I'm still passionate about my entrepreneurial dream, but I don't want to go back to India right now,
Uh,
especially after, having spent 13 years of my life and, also establishing a family
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah. I understand.
connections in US, which I don't want to break down.
Yeah.
And, after, contributing to the economy so much. So what it's getting into is like some complex topics around immigration and other things as well. And that's why, it's tough.
You're
But
gonna deal
but
with it.
again, to just stay on, like, can we balance our college degree and the entrepreneurial dream? Yes. um,
It's
the decision that you would make along the way would matter. And what would matter is like what kind of mentors, what kind of role models
prioritizing your
you,
time.
yeah, you associate yourself with, and what you prioritize, what advice, what values you take in,
Hmm.
and what noises you block.
Yeah. Perfect.
Those would like be certainly some of the key point. I do think people can do it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rahul. That was actually it's probably one of the best interviews I've ever had because it was so insightful because you've literally lived the life that I'm trying to look forward to, especially during those college years. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a long time coming up because we had some problems communicating, but yeah, now we're here, and that was a really wonderful interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bara. And again, greet your mom for me. We have been friends. We met at college, and I would love to connect with or see you guys sometime. Maybe if I visit New Zealand, or if you ever come to US, feel free to give me a ring.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.